All right.
So
So
let's just, yeah, just put the first map up,
so Ken, I'm showing the 4 images you sent me
yeah,
are first, and then I've got the one that you suggested, and then I've got the ones I found.
maybe put up the one you found from Rumsey.
Okay.
I'm really amazed that you found it, but you can tell me how that was done later, or we can tell everyone how that was done later.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
The quick story on this one is I came about this. Well, I'm gonna title this talk a gross misnomer in the map world. Um, Aaron Aerosmith and Samuel Lewis published an atlas in 1812 with the title A New and Elegant General Atlas, comprising all the new discoveries to the present time. Most of us have seen this sort of wording for not just atlases, but many maps, comprising all the new discoveries. We might want to look closer at such claims. Some areas of the world in centuries past were barely known, if at all, to those men and women who would attempt to map them. Central Africa is a prime example, in that many a cartographer, including some of the best, inserted conjecture or mythologized, placeholder rivers, lakes, towns, and animals, sometimes monsters in unexplored areas. I've talked about that before. Maps of Africa before 1800 were a feast for the eyes with all kinds of illustrations. The only problem is that the continent had hardly been explored, and there was little basis for what we saw or see in those maps, in those early maps. I picked up a map years ago from an eBay seller who knew nothing about it. There were clues that it was English. And Tom, if you can blow this map up so that we can look a little close, a little bit more. Okay, and raise it, go up a bit. Well, first of all, it says North America. That's obviously in English. And then in the area around Louisiana, or just below Louisiana, you'll see right about, right just below the line. You see it says Mississippi, actually, or just above Mississippi River. If you go up above there, I'll say Mississippi. That's 18th century English.
Right. Are you there, Ken? Hold on. I can't hear you for some reason. You might have muted yourself accidentally. Hold on just a second. Let me see what's going on here. Ken, did we lose him? Hold on. I think he may have dropped off. Okay, it's a Zoom meeting. It's officially a Zoom meeting. I'm gonna stand in for him for a second here, because what happened was he came to me Ken, are you there? He came to me a couple days ago, and he sent me these photos, and that was it. and this was the telltale one for me, because I just had this recollection of Aerosmith from the way that this shape was here. And so I Googled Aerosmith, and anyway, after a little bit of Googling, I found the exhibit at the Rumsey Center. And they've got the whole thing there, it's awesome. I'll share that real briefly. The resource is amazing. If you haven't played around with Rumsey, and you're interested in maps, especially digital versions, you need to go here. So I found this exhibit, and somewhere down here towards the bottom, here it is. It's this one right here. This is his map, and Rumsey allows you to export. You can buy prints, but he allows you to export for free high-res images. And that's how we've created a lot of the exhibits on the gallery. That Library of Congress as well is another large source. Ken, are you back? No. I hope it's not a tsunami in Half Moon Bay.
Well, Tom, do you know what point he was trying to make with the map? Basically 18th century spellings or something.
Yeah, it was sort of his sleuthing to try to figure out what it was. Hold on, I got to get back to it.
I mean, spellings on maps are a whole new forest of discovery.
Yeah, I mean the whole Arctic area was also a telltale about the time period of this, right? It
Oh,
couldn't.
great. Yeah.
I mean, California is not an island, so it's after 17 whatever, the late 1700s.
Right.
Tom, I
but
don't
it's
think I don't think that's a misspelling of Mississippi. It's
It-
a
The
it's
18th century rendition of
it-
S's and F's.
yes, and in German there's actually a separate typographical symbol for the double S.
Right.
So I think this was just the typography that was used.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true with all French maps of the 18th century of Africa.
all right. I'm not seeing him back. So I think let's move on, and we can come back. Give me just a second to look at my chat. Has anyone read? Patrick McGranahan was asking, has anybody read Aerosmith's autobiography?
No.
I don't think anyone has. Ken, sorry you dropped off.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's I'll take the blame for that. I apologize to all.
That's all right.
I was talking about that map that I picked up. Tom was able to discover that is the North America map from the Aerosmith and Lewis Atlas that I mentioned at the top of my talk. I don't know how I found that out, but I want you looking closely at that map, and if you could put that map up and blow that up a little bit, Tom.
Yep.
Looking closely at it reveals some interesting anomalies. Keep in mind the 1812 publishing date. The large area called Louisiana, a portion of the Trans-Mississippi West, was officially transferred to the ownership of the United States of America in March of 1804, 8 years earlier. Lewis and Clark set out on their journey within months and were back by 1806. Can you see any evidence of that in this map? None. There are Spanish words on the map. The port of San Francisco is called Puerto San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
George Vancouver visited the port of San Francisco in 1792. Shortly after, a Russian entrepreneur was invited down to the port, where he was shown sea otters aplenty, especially around an area called Bodega, which is north of the Golden Gate. Within months of that sighting, small Russian boats, many of them, were harvesting sea otter pelts in the thousands. This is recounted in the volumes that I have by a Frenchman named Duflo de Mafras. What happened was the French got really excited when they heard about these the sea otters, and because they could see the money in it, and so they sent. Well, he had already been in the area. Duflo de Mafras had been in the area, and they made him basically a spy to check on what was happening in the area, to check on the value of the west coast of the United States, California in particular, and Southern Oregon, and he reported back. By 1900, sea otters had disappeared from Northern California, north of Monterey. The Aerosmith does not mention Bodega at all, as I said. 18th century Spanish navigators found the small natural inlet port of Trinidad further north along the coast in 1775. There was no mention of Trinidad. Sebastian Vizcaino sighted Ano Nuevo inlet south of San Francisco in 1603. It's famous now for elephant seal tours, up close and personal. There's no mention of it in Aerosmith Lewis. Moving eastward, the Rocky Mountains look a bit misplaced and are called the Stony Mountains, their original name, until Jacques St. Pierre renamed them the Montagne de Roche in 1752. Further east, Fort St. Joseph is shown on the Aerosmith map right below the word Pennsylvania. You can see that right there, yeah. The fort was a shell, hardly worth mentioning when the map was made in 1812, because by 1820, the fort was completely gone. New Brunswick, Maine, although Maine was not yet a state, it was established in the late 1700s, but we only see the word Brunswick. Explorer James Cook first came to the East Coast, or to an East Coast area previously called Newfoundland. Look in the upper right corner there, you'll see it. Cook came in 1762. Shortly after, it was called Newfoundland. So the last two words are one word, and that is not the case in this map. So now, Tom, if you can turn off this map and show another map that is called, let's see.
This one? The Wilkinson map?
Yes. Now, if we can just blow that up just a little bit. This is a map by Wilkinson.
Also from Rumsey, yeah.
Yeah, this is an 1804 map by Wilkinson. If you can just give a little close up of the West Coast for starters. Below the around the San Francisco area, you'll see Santa Cruz. There's Bodega, Port Nuevo.
Yeah.
This is 8 years earlier.
Wow.
This is a rare map that is in the Rumsey Library, and it is a fantastic map. It's just really good. There's Point Trinidad toward the top of the map, and now he still has got there's. I mean, in 1804 there was still a few things that were in question. Quivira is not for real. But they didn't, I guess he wasn't sure about that. There are a lot more Indian tribes in this map, mention of a ton more detail. And so, I've seen the difference between these two maps, and I've learned a lot. And that just because you see a name like Aerosmith doesn't mean that you're going to get what they advertise. So I'll leave it at that, Tom.
That's great. That's fascinating. Thank you. Thank you very much.
By the way, Newfoundland up in the upper to the right said It was just two words.
I noticed that also. Yeah.